Welcome back everyone. In this video, we're gonna start animating the first opening scene in After Effects. Remember from the past video, I've showed you how to import the 6 frames from Photoshop into After Effects. Let's go back to the project panel. I already have my After Effects file open here. Let's go to the frame 1 composition. Just make sure, remember we talked about the file structure in the project panel. I have 4 folders here. And then within the pre-comps folder, I have a frame 1 composition. Let's click into the frame 1 composition. And within the frame 1, we have another composition that's called frame 1. What we need to do here is to copy this frame 1 composition here, Command C, and then go back to the main composition. Remember, this is the main workstation that we are going to be animating our whole thing. So just make sure we paste it in here, paste the composition in here, Command V. Now I have a composition within my main comp. However, I just noticed something that's very odd here. I see there is a black bar on the right hand side. So I want to go into this frame 1 composition and check the size of this composition. To check the size, you can click on the shortcut key Command K, and this composition is 1920 by 1080, 25 frames per second. It should be the same as our comps outside. Click on OK. However, within this composition, you can still see this black bar, so that means our background here is not big enough. So all I need to do is go to the last layer, this layer, the Photoshop layer, which is a background, BKG. Let's change the size of this. Hit keyboard shortcut S for scale and then just make it bigger. I just want to make the white background bigger so that it's occupying the whole space of the frame. And then let's go back to the main composition. And now you can see it's updated here, the main composition. Right now we have a 1920 by 1080 HD frame here. That's nice and clean. And this is our artwork. So what I want to do right now is we want to start animating within this frame 1. What we need to do is, so let's go inside this frame 1, double click on this. I can start animating this scene within frame 1 composition one by one. First of all, we have a background, and then I don't want to change anything with the background, so I can just lock this. You see there's a lock icon in the front here. Let's just lock this one so that I don't want to accidentally touch it. Next thing is the shape layer here. I've got a shape layer. So for the whole animation here in this explainer video, we are trying to animate a vintage look collage style animation. So the whole thing should look more like a stop motion. It's not going to be very smooth. I want to try to, match the vintage look with the stop motion style of animation to make the whole thing more appealing. So that's kind of the style of animation that I'm going for. And I'm going to show you everything you need to know to make a vintage looking collage style explainer video with stop motion. Let's go to the shape layer here. And I kind of want the shape layer to come from the left to right, maybe like move it a little bit when it come on. Just hit on P for position. And then I can just hit a keyframe here, hit on the stopwatch to add a keyframe here. And then I can go forward 10 frames, Command Shift right arrow to go forward 10 frames, drag this keyframe here to the 10th frame and then go back to the 0 second. Maybe I can change the X position to the left and down a little bit so that the shape just come on from the left to right very subtly. And then I can select both keyframes, go to right click, keyframe velocity, change it to 60 for both keyframes, outgoing and incoming keyframes. This way we can add more energy to the motion. Let's preview the animation. So I want it to be more dramatic. I want the movement to be fast and quick. Something like that. And then now what I want to do is I want to cut the frame at the third frame to cut this layer. Use Option left square bracket. You can see the shortcut on the left hand side. So we can cut it like that. And now I want to add a special effects. You can go to the right hand side. There's the effects and preset panel. If you don't have the effects and presets window here, you can go to window and then choose effects and presets. It's over here. Let's search for a linear wipe. So we've got two linear wipe. One is for transition, which is not what we want. We want this animation preset, linear wipe. Double click so that it's added on top of this shape layer. And you can see there are 2 frames added too. If I hit on U on the keyboard, it's going to show me the keyframe of this transition. So I want the transition to end probably around here. You can see the wipe from left to right. However, we want the wipe to be diagonally, like with an angle, so that I can change the angle of the wipe to be like something like this. Now I can kind of change the keyframe of velocity to match with the velocity that I have on position property. Click on OK. Something like this. Something like this. This is what I want it to be now. And I noticed that my preview speed is pretty slow right now. So what I can do is I can change the preview resolution from full to maybe quarter. And that's a bit too blurry. Let's change it to half. So if you change it to half, you can still see the whole thing pretty clearly. Let's try third. Third looks fine too. You know what? Let's keep it in half. So I changed the resolution of the preview to half so that the render can be more quickly. It can make the preview faster. So the next thing what we want to do, going up, I have a rectangle here. Rectangle is pretty easy since we have a mask. Let's go down the list. Let's go to the mask and then go inside. We have a mask path. What I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to go through every single element within this composition to animate them at 0 seconds, starting from 0 seconds. And later on, if I need to, delay the start or maybe kind of randomize which one comes in first, which one comes in second, I can just drag the layers to a specific time stamp so that I can delay the start or, change the order of the animation. But like right now, what I need to do is to animate them at 0 seconds. For this rectangle here, it's going to be pretty simple. All I need to do, from 0 seconds, let's go forward 20 frames, Command Shift right arrow, 10 frames, and then 20 frames. You can see here, 20 frames. And then let's put down a keyframe, hit on this stopwatch. And then let's go back to 0 seconds. What I can do is I can just click on the 2 anchor points and then drag this 2 anchor point to the left so that at 0 seconds, the mask is all the way at the left so that it's not showing any rectangle. And then the animation is going to go like this from left to right. I might want to add some keyframe of velocity here. Right click, keyframe velocity, change it to 66. If I want to preview, I can go to the 2 seconds, hit on N on the keyboard for the preview ending points. You can see this bar here. This is where the preview end. So if I preview from the start, hit space bar, it's going to only preview the first 2 seconds. All right, that looks good. And then going up, what is this? This is the grungy, noisy texture. So this is our texture. We need to bring the texture down just above the white background so that the texture is not on top of any other elements. It should be just on top of the white background. So the texture animation is going to be a bit different because we want to randomize the texture as if it's just kind of moving randomly in the background. However, we don't want the animation to be smooth. So what we want to do is, the simple way is just go to the rotation property. And then at 0 second, we want the texture to be at 0. And then put down a keyframe. Go forward 5 frames. Command right arrow 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5 frames. And then let's try to change this rotation value to maybe -20. And now you can see there's the edge of my texture layer. So I need to hold down Shift and then click on S to bring up the scale property. Make sure the scale is bigger so that I'm covering the whole space of this frame here. And then let's go forward 5 frames. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say if we change the rotation to +20. From -20 to +20. And then let's go forward another 5 frames. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Change it to -45. I just want to kind of manipulate the degree of the rotation so that I'm randomizing the background. Okay, that's good. And then go forward 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This time change it to maybe something like this. And then go to 1 second. Remember, we have 25 frames per second, so my keyframes are 5 frames apart. The last frame, I want to go back to 0 degree. And now if I toggle the timeline, you can see the background is just randomly animating. It's kind of the effect that we want, but then one more thing we need to do, select all the keyframes, right click, click on this toggle hold keyframes so that there's no in-between frames. It gives you like a stop motion type of view. And then the next thing we want to do is to put on a very simple expression. Hold down Option on Mac or Alt on PC and then click on the stopwatch here. We need to put in this loop out expression. Just type in loop out with an O in capital letter and then the bracket. So what it does is it's gonna loop this part of the animation. After 1 second, it's gonna repeat again. It's gonna just repeat forever. If you have 5 seconds, it's gonna repeat this animation 5 times. Let's preview this part. You see that? We have a background that's animating. That is good. However, I kind of want to tone it down a little bit. Let's go to transparency, hit T on the keyboard. For transparency, right now it's 15%. Let's change it to 10%. I want to tone down the background animation. Right now it's kind of distracting. So that's it with our texture animation in the background. Now I can lock this